You had a very successful career in corporate law before you decided to really dedicate your life's work to impact and purpose. What was it like for you to make that decision?
I was seeing my colleagues, they were thinking in a beautiful way how they can create a change in this world. And I said, I want to have this life. Father-in-law, no, Carolina, not yet. Please continue being a lawyer. When I talked to the president of the corporate this time, are you sure, Carolina? You want to earn less? I say, yes, it's the life that I like. You need to follow your dreams.
Today, Carolina Suárez leads Latimpacto, the leading impact investing network across Latin America.
You cannot understand the reality from a beautiful venue in a beautiful hotel.
What gives you hope in Latin America right now?
Our people, again. We cannot leave all these people that are expecting more work from the impact side. So we should continue with this commitment. The first issue is how you can establish trust and having good relationships. Building trust takes time, but destroying this is in 1 second. So something that we have learned over the last years is that we cannot work alone.
Welcome back to Catch the Upswing for a special episode from Lima. And I'm here today with Maria Carolina Suárez Visbal, the CEO of Latimpacto, which is really the leading impact investing network in Latin America. So welcome, Carolina.
No, thank you, Jessica. It is a pleasure to be here with you in Lima. So when I received your email, invited me to be part of this podcast, I was so amazed because I read the first episode and I said, wow, what is Jessica doing at this moment? I'm so happy to be here with you. So thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. And I would love to start with your personal journey, because when I looked up your personal journey and, also you told me a little bit about it, I realized that it's quite an unconventional path. And so I would love to start right there. You had a very successful career in corporate law before you decided to really dedicate your life's work to impact and purpose. What was it like for you to make that decision at that time? And how did your social network also react to that?
Wow, Jessica, it is a good question. And thank you for asking this, because it's a good reflection that when you ask that. So yes, I was working as a lawyer, as a corporate lawyer with a LLM in international trade law. But at this time, I was working in a multi-Latina company, and they decided to rebuild the office. So we were sharing the legal department with the foundation of the family at this time. And I was, checking agreements and contracts and seeing legal issues. And I was seeing with my colleagues, they were working the foundation. And they were thinking in a beautiful way how they can create a change in this world. As imagining different things and creating projects, social projects in my country. I'm from Colombia. And I said, wow, it's something that I want to do. I don't want to continue my life, checking agreements and, trying to fix things. And because I love to study law, I'm love to be a lawyer. But I was seeing them say, I want to have this life. And I remember this time when I talked to my family with my father-in-law. He was a really good business guy, but also a philanthropist. And when I mentioned to him, I want to move to the foundation, I want to work there. Say, no, Carolina, not yet. Please continue being a lawyer, maybe later. Because, you have you have in the mindset that maybe you have to be a philanthropist when you are older, not younger. And I was younger at this time. It was more than 20 years ago. And I say, no, it's time now. I want to move to the foundation. So when I talk to the president of the corporate at this time, and I say, I want to move to the foundation, I want to work with the foundation. Are you sure, Carolina? You want to earn less. You have a successful career and you will continue being successful. Why do you want to move to work with a foundation, with an NGO? And say, yes, it's the life that I like. And sometimes, not sometimes, always, you need to follow your dreams. And I'm so glad that I'm part of this world since, 20 years ago that I started with philanthropy. I'm so glad. I'm so fortunate to meet people like you. So every day that I have conversations, it energizes me to make my work better. When you see your family, when you see your children, because you and me, you are traveling a lot. You have a baby. I have 2 teenagers. But when they see that you are traveling because you want to create a better world, it is the best compensation that you have.
Amazing. It must have been so difficult at the time, but I'm so glad that you stayed true to that path because the impact you've been having over the last 20 years is just incredible.
Yes, I think that you can create impact when you have the commitment with yourself.
Mhm.
And I'm committed with myself to do my best. And I love what I do. And you also have to feel to follow
Mhm.
your dreams and do whatever you want to do. And I'm so glad that I can do that. I had the opportunity to do that.
And at the time when you were still a corporate lawyer, was there like, a moment or an experience or like a particular incident that made you really realize that you didn't want to continue that path? Or was it like looking at the foundation and seeing, the other side where
I
you
think it was
wanted to
looking at
be?
the foundation. Yes, I think it was looking at the foundation and looking the amazing people that was working there, actually my friends, and always thanks them for because they were my inspiration, but also my father-in-law, as I mentioned at the beginning, he has been my best, my guy that I always follow. He passed away 5 years ago, but I think he's my inspiration to be in this path.
Mhm. Great. And looking back now, what would you say did you gain from choosing that path? And what perhaps did you lose by not staying on the other path?
When you follow your dreams, you don't lose. When you have commitment with the things that you want to do, you don't lose. And but I have gained, I think, um, wow, meeting people like you know, co-create, thinking beyond of the. You have to see beyond of the. How do you kind of say that? That the common things that you have in mind.
Mhm.
You have to co-create, and when you are working in a region, as I am working for Latin America, that you have a lot of challenges, and you have to have hope all the time. So at this time that we are living these geopolitical challenges, we cannot lose hope. We should continue working even harder.
Mhm.
But I think that I have gained a lot of things, knowledge. I have meeting new people, but also understanding the context that we are living and how we can support causes that need more people like you, like us. So I'm so happy to be part of this committee of people committed with impact, and particularly in my region.
Yeah. And Latin America is such a rich region. There's so much innovation happening, but it's also a region that is systematically undervalued and underestimated, I think, globally, by other regions or by global leaders. What is it about the region that keeps you, excited and motivated for now 20 years? So all those years that you've been working here.
Wow, what a good question, because I completely agree with you. And I always mention that Latin America is a region full of opportunities and full of solutions. And what makes Latin America different is the people.
Mhm.
So when you talk to people in Latin America, you find a lot of people with commitment, as I mentioned before, that the most important issue that we should have in this world is our commitment. So for me, Latin America is so rich. But something that I miss from Latin America and from the people that we live is that we need to speak louder.
Mm.
We need to show all the potential. We are so shy. So it's because I promote all the time. We need to attend forums like this one. We are here in Lima because we are attending the Gli Forum of Promujer. And we need to come to these spaces, to go to the US, to show all the potential. Sometimes we are so shy in Latin America. And when you see a lot of international forums, a lot of Africans going there and showing, what they are doing. We need to do this kind of, we should have this participation even more.
Mhm.
We need to show all the potential. And you, with 2X, I'm sure that the project you have here, your partners here are amazing. Because here you can find people, and in the end, when you want to create social projects, it's all about the team you work with. It's all about the people that you work with.
Mm.
So Latin America offers a lot. It's not only biodiversity. It's not only, great ideas, but it's also the people that it is behind of that.
Yeah.
That the leaders that you can find here in Latin America. So I'm so glad to work with my peers in Latin America, with amazing organizations based here, and because they have a lot of potential. that you can discover every day. And so as I already mentioned, it energized me even more to work in this sector.
Mm. Yeah, and I totally agree with you. Also, the kind of initiatives or projects, companies, investment firms that we're seeing in Latin America is really exceptional. There's, as you say, there's so much talent, so many solutions, also so much innovation when you think about, whether it's like the green economy, blue economy, orange economy, silver economy. Like Latin America has so much to offer. And yeah, and I agree with you. I think it doesn't get enough credit and really visibility on a global stage.
I completely agree with you. And it's something that we do through Latimpacto. Actually, when I invent this concept of creating a regional network, I say, wow, it is a time that we need this kind of network because we are connecting from Mexico to La Patagonia and the Caribbean countries. And the idea is how we can be less fragmented.
Mhm.
I always, we cannot have the single narrative in Latin America because each country is unique. So something that you find in Mexico is not the same that you will find in Chile. But even with these differences, there is a lot of commonalities that you can find and how you can connect them, how you can connect these lessons learned, how you can connect the knowledge, because in the end we speak the same language
Mhm.
and we're living the same challenge. So how we can connect them and how we can work together
Yeah.
even more because we are so fragmented in Latin America. So we want to connect people in Latin America, but also to show all the potential that we have here in this region and how to show this to the world.
If you're enjoying this conversation, the easiest way to support the show is to subscribe. Wherever you're listening or watching, it takes about 3 seconds and it genuinely makes a difference. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, so you just mentioned Latimpacto and building it and what the vision is for it. You build it basically from scratch at a time where there wasn't such a network. It didn't exist. You basically built it. What was it like at the time to convince others that this was needed and, bring them along on your vision?
So first, I didn't build it by myself. I think it was an initiative, a collective initiative,
Mhm.
and I was invited to be part of this steering committee, to be part of this partner group. But since the beginning, when I listened about the initiative, I say is what we needed in Latin America. So at this time, I was leading the Association of Corporate and Family Foundations at Latimpacto, and at this time, I was trying to work in different regional projects.
Mhm.
So, working with the IDB Lab, working with the CAF, the both Latin American Development Banks, and working with Avina Foundation and different organizations with wings, trying to create collective knowledge, trying to connect different organizations. And I met Alejandro Alvarez at this time. He came to one of my events that I was co-hosting with Avina, with Portugal's foundations, with Wings for Foundation at this time. And he came, and one friend from Spain said, "Hey, I have a friend from Spain. He's going to your event. I would like that you can talk to him." Say, "Okay, great. I want to talk to this guy." And I thought, okay, it's another consultant coming from Europe to see how we should work here in Latin America, because it happens a lot. And he came and he said, "No, Carolina, we already have a network in Europe and in Asia, and we want to replicate the similar model in Latin America and Africa. And so we are gathering key leaders in the region. Do you want to participate as part of this group?" I say, "Wow, yes, it's something that we need in the region." Because, the publications that I was promoting in the past, they were so, okay, we have a book, just go to and leave it, and let's go have a forum and just leave it. But when you have a network, you are working all the time in Latin America, for Latin America, with Latin Americans. So I say, wow, it's what we need to have this kind of network. And then when he mentioned, okay, it's not only working with the philanthropy side, it's also how we can bring the impact investment side. It was 8 years ago, so still something new. It's how we can have the continued capital integrated as part of this work. Is how you can have a regional network, bringing the continued capital and having connections with Europe, Asia, and Africa.
Mhm.
And I say, wow, it is really interesting. And also bringing different sectors. Because when you want to create impact, it's not a single actor that can create impacts. It's not only foundations.
Mhm.
There are impact investors. There are networks like 2X. There are academia. There are families. So it's everybody. So we would have a single actor. So, wow, is what we need. So I was so enthusiastic about the project. And at this moment, I was leaving my job at the association because I say, I don't want to continue working with networks. Because you are also working with a network,
Mhm.
you know how challenging it is. Because it's easier to promote a single project
Mhm.
instead of promoting a network. Yes, we want to work in a collective way, but in the end, you want to pursue your own project.
Mhm.
So how you can bring people to believe that it is important to create and to strengthen this kind of organizations, these ecosystem builders, as we call ourselves. So I say, I'm not sure. I love the idea of having this network in Latin America, but I'm not completely sure if I want to lead this network. But then, the people say, no, Carolina, but you already know that. So let's start with that. So I say, okay, I will start with Latimpacto, maybe for 5 years, and then I will see.
Mhm.
But I love what I do. And I love, every day energizes me. It's challenging, of course, it is. It is challenging because sometimes bringing people to support a network is not easier. But I am committed with the project. And I always remember the first conversation that I have with our pioneer founder, Doc Miller. And when he said, I was new for him, you know, this region was new for him as well, because he's from the US, living in London for many years. And I say, why do you? And I just answer, because you have my commitment and I believe in this project. So I'm so happy to be part of this project, to work with an amazing team. I think I have an amazing team, amazing members. So I'm so glad that we will continue, and tomorrow we will renew our MOU, because you cannot create a network if you don't work with great people and good partners. So I love what I do, and I'm here.
It's amazing to hear. Yeah, and I can really relate to, how you described like the challenging part as well as the beautiful part of it. Because when it's all coming together and you have those members, that are bigger than kind of the sum of themselves, like, where everybody is working towards a shared mission, and you have people who see like the bigger picture and the value in the ecosystem work, it's incredible. But also it's really hard work. And I think sometimes people perhaps who are enjoying the benefits of a network don't always appreciate the hard work behind making it happen. How has that been for you? Do you, have you sometimes felt like lonely on this journey in the early years?
Yes and no. I already mentioned that in this work, when you are working with impact, you cannot lose hope, and you need to thank every day what you have. So of course, you live with challenges, with difficult times, but you compensate this with the team that you have. Of course, you have difficulties managing teams. It's not, no, because you are working in impact, you have an amazing, everybody's beautiful. No, you have to deal also with some difficult situations, but you compensate this with your work, with the results that you see, with the people that you share with. So with my team, with my members, I have amazing members. And of course, there are some organizations or people, I cannot say organizations, there are some people that they are so transactional. Yes, but what I should support this network, what I will receive, say, it's not receive, it's being part of a community. And, something that I really like from the US culture is the way that they understand the community, But here in Latin America, it's not the same. So creating this culture of having a community, and that if you want to be part of a community, you have to pay for that. So it's not easy at all with everyone. But I'm so glad that I have people that I say, I want to continue being part of Latimpacto, because we need a Latimpacto in Latin America. Just because this. They don't care if they will receive how many entries to our conference. No, they need this structure. So I always mention, and since the beginning, when I met this concept, is that we are creating a Latin American airport. So you, being in Europe, you come to Latimpacto, or you can connect with the peers that can work with you, you can access to knowledge that is just for Latin America, and you can mobilize capital with other peers. Is what we offer to people like you and to other organizations. Is how you can land in this Latin American airport and you can connect easily with others and learn from them.
Yeah, and what I love about the bigger picture that you described is that you have the Latin American network and then you have the Asian network, the African network, the European network. So there's, I imagine, also a lot of, kind of cross-regional learning, recognizing that every region is different, but you're still kind of part of this bigger community, which is amazing.
It is indeed. And actually, it was one of my motivations, as I already mentioned, having these sister networks, what I have learned from them and what they can learn from us as well, because we have a lot of knowledge to share with them as well. And you mentioned that sometimes Latin America is seen behind of the world, but something that we want to show is all the potential that we have here in this region. So I remember at the beginning, they say, okay, Carolina, your role will be translating documents from English to Spanish. So, and I remember my first trips to Impact Europe, bringing a lot of books from Impact Europe and how I can translate them. And then I say, should I translate them or should I create new documents? Learning from these experiences, but having their own knowledge. And I started to find and to identify with my team, organizations, good cases. Right now, we have more than 150 cases from the region. People that sometimes ask, wow, I have a case. Yes, you have a case. You have to show what are you doing. So I'm so glad working with my sister networks, but also with other networks. So with the GSG, with the G, with you. So, we have to learn. We have to be more connected among ourselves. We need to be humble. It's something that we miss sometimes when you are working on impact. We need to be more humble and say, we don't need to know everything. Maybe there's someone else that knows more than you. So how you can bring this knowledge and how you can increase your experience sharing with them.
In your experience, what does it take to really build a successful network? What are perhaps some of the learnings or insights that you have gained over the years?
For me, is the first issue is how you can establish trust and having good relationships. So we are living in this moment. We are running all the time. It's rush. So one of the issues that I want to see is how you can build on with the trust that you can create, personal relationships. So how we can be connected and having conversations beyond a single project, a single idea. So when you create this trust, you can create bigger things. So it's something that I really value when you are creating networks. And sometimes we miss that because network is not just compiling and gathering different ideas. It's bringing people and co-creating together. So for me, it is really important to know each of our members. Right now, we have more than 250 members, including 2X, of course, and understanding their needs, having good conversations, understanding what they need from us, and what you can offer. And when you have a network, you cannot say, I can't. It's how we can.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of elements when you are creating a network. And it's something that I love. So when you asked me at the beginning why I left my lawyer career, is because here it's a different way. Every day you are learning something new. And because we are an agnostic network, we are not having a specific focus. It is difficult. It is challenging. Because one day I'm talking about gender, the other day I'm talking about climate, and how you can connect these issues. So it's not having single slots, it's how you can connect these issues and how you can work and having these connections. So this is the way that we need to understand the context in the region.
Wow. Thank you for sharing those insights. You also mentioned the importance of hope. We can't lose hope, especially perhaps in the current geopolitical environment or when things get difficult. What gives you hope in Latin America right now?
Our people, again. Yes. So, I listen every day. No, Carolina, at this moment we are living a very difficult situation, blah, 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 the president, the government, the elections. We will continue. We cannot leave all these people that are expecting more work from the impact side. So we should continue with this commitment. So what gives me hope is the people that is behind of that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see foundations, when you see impact investors, when you see families committed with their purpose. So even beyond the current government, the elections, they will continue working in the region, for the region. So it gives me hope. So, last year we have the US government decided to close all the US agencies, including the USAID. And I received too many calls. Carolina, what is next? What is next? We will continue, even with not having the USAID with us. And I have seen that. So it is more challenging, but still we have people committed and we continue working in projects. So it's how we should work even harder. It doesn't matter the context that is behind of us. So it is time to rethink how we can create more partnerships. How can I check my strategy and how I can co-create with others? So it's something that I really like, this view of the ecosystem that we need to create. So something that we have learned over the last years is that we cannot work alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it demands a lot of issues. And first is being more humble and trust that you need to have. And it's not, I have the best project that I want to share with you. It's, okay, I have the best project. Maybe you have the best as well. So how we can build a better one working together.
Yeah, I love that. How do you yourself, recharge your energy or motivate yourself? Because it can get quite difficult, right? Like you just mentioned, a major funder in the global ecosystem just dropping out, or promises not being kept, or all of those issues, the region being underestimated sometimes. Like when things get difficult, how do you, keep yourself sane and healthy?
I think that having this kind of conversations with you, when you have the time to reflect, what are you creating? Being here at the Glee with Promo Her, being a lot of investors committed with the gender lens, So when you believe in the things that you are doing, you have this enough energy to continue seeing positive things. So for me, and actually some of the issues that I say, maybe it's difficult to work in a network, but something that I love is that I know different people, I have different perspectives. So I don't have a single lens, I have different lens. So having different conversations, meeting different people. So for example, our conference will be this year in Manaus in September. And so people say, why Carolina, Manaus? In the middle of the Amazon, full of monkeys and trees? No, I think that this city is more than monkeys and a beautiful forest. There's a lot of people living there. And maybe because we don't have enough understanding what is happening in the Amazon, we have this misconception about why in Manaus. So, sometimes I say, why, Carolina, why I decided to make the conference in Manaus? Why no Cartagena? Beautiful cities that everyone wants to go there. But we need to realize that we should be there in these places that are difficult to get and showing the potential that we should have toward there. So sometimes we need to bring people into these territories to understand the realities, because you cannot understand the reality from a beautiful venue in a beautiful hotel. So maybe it will be difficult. I'm sure that will be challenging. And so this morning, my first call at 6 a.m. was with the conference manager. I say, how are you doing? No, Carolina, but maybe this, no. So we will continue. We should continue. Is the way that we need to create a change. So we'll see what happens. But in the end, I can say the energy that I receive from my family. So for you, for me, we were talking before starting this podcast, is your baby's with your husband. My kids are with my husband as well. And I appreciate how he cares of the family as well. So he's a good motivation for me here, and my kids as well, how they understand that I'm traveling a lot, but how we can compensate this with the work that we are doing. It's not working for ourselves. It's working for with purpose.
Yeah, and I really love this example that you shared because I think that's a great example of where you have a vision and a conviction, right? Like what the community really needs. They need to be exposed to those realities because that is how they can connect with that purpose and ultimately who that capital is supposed to serve. But they don't necessarily see it themselves, which is sometimes also challenging, right? Because they expect you to kind of be in service of the network and the members, but then maybe you actually, have like, I don't know, a different vision or of what is actually needed to create real change. So I guess it also takes a lot of courage, in this case to just say, no, we're going to do it there because we need people to, be closer to the Amazon and really understand what's going on in the territory.
Yes, of course. And I have the support also from my board, and I really appreciate their support and from my team as well. But, yes, it's difficult. And they say, no, I'm not going because it will be just a climate agenda. Have you been in Mexico? It's not an agenda focused in Mexico. Have you been? So why? Because it's in Manaus, will be just focused on climate issues. No, not necessarily. We will continue, having this broader agenda. But being in a place that is a fancy place, yes, it takes time to understand why we are going to Manaus this year. But I'm happy that we will continue with that. And, we should working with your conviction and of course, listening to others is always important. So, and actually, when we decided to go to Manaus, it was a collective decision. And I asked the Brazilians members, and they are so committed. So I appreciate that they are so committed with, okay, we are going to the Amazon. And for them, flying from Sao Paulo to Manaus, it takes like 5 hours. And from Bogota, it's just 2 hours and a half. So it's not a long flight, it's a direct flight, but there is a lot of misconception. So something that we want to highlight with this conference, but with all the work that we do with Latimpacto is that we should be more close to the realities with our region. If we are working with impact, for impact, we cannot lose the connection with the communities, with the territories. It's something that we should work even harder. So it's not, I will support entrepreneurs, I will support women, but being so far from them, So no, it's not working from the beautiful cities that we have in Latin America, from Mexico City, from Santiago, from here, from Lima. It's going to the communities, work with them, understand their needs.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited for your conference. I can't wait.
I hope that you can join us as well. I would love it.
I hope so. Yeah, would be really nice.
And also for your event in Canada this year. It will be great.
Yeah, exactly. It will be one after the other.
Yes.
Yeah. You've spoken about the role that happiness and satisfaction plays in your work, and I would love to go a little bit deeper there. What does it actually look like in practice? So not, as a concept, but like, what does it feel like in the day-to-day?
Wow. So being here is living the moment, living the present. Yes. Sometimes we are thinking all the time how I will be tomorrow, but living the present. My mom, she passed away more than 20 years ago, and she was so young at this time. So something that I learned from this hard experience is how you should live the present. So yes, living the present, being happy today, because you don't know what will happen tomorrow. Yes, it's my best motivation. And I remember talking to her before she passed away, and I think she shared this with me. So I think it's one of the lessons that I have every day, and something that I share with my children as well. They should be happy today because you don't know what will happen tomorrow.
Oh, it's beautiful. And do you have a daily practice of how you find happiness? Do you have to look for happiness to find it?
No, 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 no. I think something that I always do every morning And every night before going to sleep is how I can say thank you. Thank you for this life. Thank you for the things that I have, that I can receive. So I always thank God and life for my work, for my family, for people like you. So I think we should appreciate
Mm-hmm.
all the things that you receive from God and from the life.
Yeah. I love this gratitude practice.
Yes, I think it's the best one. So I would love to do more exercise that I never do. Never go to the gym, but I would love to have more time for that. But I don't, and I would love to do yoga, but never. But yes, maybe I want to have time. Maybe in the future I want to open a library and also selling flowers, but we'll see. Maybe in the future.
We have a lot in common, I think.
Really? I love it. So I'm going to Mallorca. We want to have a library and a bookstore that we can share with other people. And say, I was talking to my knowledge director and say, our dream maybe should be, someone that comes to your place, say, Jessica, I want to read a book that helped me to understand X thing. I say, yes, I have a beautiful novel here that you can read. I would love to do that.
And then we can be there together,
yes,
with good intentions to do sports,
of course,
and not do it.
In the future.
Great. I wonder, has your definition of success changed over the years?
No, I think it's making, or yes, it's working with commitment. It is always be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be transparent, and sometimes it's difficult because sometimes you have to express your ideas, but I prefer to be in this way rather than say, I don't want to say something to Jessica, but maybe she will know. No, if you have an opinion, if you have something to say, express it. So yes, and I don't like lies. It's something that I don't like because I trust in people. And when you trust, you need transparency on the people that you share with, you work with.
How do you build trust with people? That is kind of the foundation to then, allows you to be really transparent.
So taking time, creating good relationships. Yes, and showing that you have the commitment. When I was mentioning how difficult it is to keep this kind of networks, you can overcome these challenges when you create and you establish trust, and you can keep this trust, and you can keep these good conversations. And when you do not agree with someone, with something, you should express this and take your time to talk. Sometimes we are rushing and say, maybe other day I want to talk to him, or maybe no, it doesn't matter. Or maybe I will do this, but I don't care because she will understand. No, try to talk first. So, building trust takes time, but destroying it is in 1 second.
Yeah.
So you should take care of the relationships that you are creating all the time. And even more in this world when you are working on impact for people with people.
Quick pause to highlight a good practice example. Think about what a home insurance policy usually covers: fire, flood, and theft. And these are the risks that the insurance industry decided decades ago were worth protecting against. Now think about this. In France alone, more than 1 million women experience domestic violence every year. Many of them need to leave urgently, safely, and anonymously, often in the middle of the night, and with their children, and really nowhere to go. That is also a risk, a real one, and with real consequences. For decades, insurance treated domestic violence as a social issue, not as an insurable risk. Then AXA did something surprisingly simple. They added 3 words to their standard home insurance policy: and domestic violence. That's it, 3 words. But those 3 words meant that for the first time, a woman fleeing an abusive situation could access emergency housing through her insurance, the same way she would if her home caught fire. 7 days of safe, anonymous accommodation with a trained 24/7 response team coordinating everything, including legal, psychological, and financial support. And what I find surprising about this example isn't just the scale of it. It's the design thinking behind it. Someone at AXA asked a very simple question. What risks are we not covering, and why not? And the answer turned out to be one of the most common emergencies that women face. AXA has since launched a parallel initiative in the UK in partnership with Women's Aid and SmartWorks, helping customers experiencing domestic abuse access specialist support, safety planning, and practical help rebuilding financial independence. And so the lesson isn't just about insurance, it's about what happens when institutions start designing products around the lives people actually live, rather than the risks they have always assumed people face. Now let's get back to our conversation. Is there a part of your work that has given you unexpected joy?
All the time. As I already mentioned, you have to enjoy everything. So I love what I do. I love to be here in this job. So it's not a single moment. And sometimes you are looking for what is the biggest joy that I have? No, it's not the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
It's enjoying each moment. It's being here with you. It's enjoying this conversation. Maybe 1 hour later, we want to be in another place, but it's enjoying every moment and learning from each action that you are living. So I don't want to say a single moment. I think it's enjoying what you are doing. It's enjoying the present, the moment.
Nice. So putting my 2X head on, I have to ask about your experience. What has it been like as a woman building something? Have you yourself ever felt underestimated or misunderstood in this space?
No. I'm so glad that I haven't felt that, but I am aware that there are women feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
So is the work that we should do. How we can have women that they don't feel this, that they feel that they are behind. So how we can empower women. So I'm grateful that I haven't felt this feeling. Maybe because sometimes I forget some issues. So I say I live in the present. I'm not living about the past. And I say maybe yes, of course, we are living difficult moments, but I don't want to stop there and say, wow, do you remember this day that I was living that? No, just continue living and shower your power and believe in yourself. So it's something when I talk to some woman, actually, I had a recent conversation with a lady. I was at a school forum and at this beautiful dinner that they organized at the school forum, I was sharing with a lady from Dubai. And she's a young lady, a dentist. And we were talking together and saying, no, my parents, they don't want that I am here. I want to stay with them. I'm not married yet. I want to learn from you. And then we were sharing experience with her. And then she sent me a beautiful message to say, thank you, because I come back to Dubai with a different mindset. And I said, wow. And it was an unexpected conversation. We were just talking as, I met her in this dinner. Hello, I'm Carolina from Colombia. Hello, I'm here from Dubai. My parents, they don't agree that I'm here, in the middle of the situation. They are expecting that I have kids and I'm doing this. Continue with your path. You are doing well. And then I received a beautiful message from her. And so it is the way that you can have good conversations and empowering these people.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you for sharing that example.
No, she's an amazing woman. And I would love that she can continue going to these forums and to other forums.
Yeah.
And she was 25. So say, wow, she's so young. But her family was expecting other things from her. So it's how you can also share with this woman that they should continue following their dreams.
Yeah.
Even their families, principles, the ideas, the backgrounds. Yes.
What would you say to a young woman who wants to enter the space of impact investing or work with purpose, but kind of feels like the system wasn't really designed for her?
So it's something a conversation that I had with my daughter. She is ending her school and she will start architecture, sustainable architecture. And I always mention the importance of working with a purpose behind. So for us, you and I, that we are working on this impact space, I think that the gratitude that we have with the work that we are doing is enormous. So when you ask me about what I left my career as a lawyer and the satisfaction that I have today is, wow, it's my best motivation. So you should follow your purpose. And if it is good to continue working as a lawyer, my best friends are working as lawyers because they have this purpose. So when you have a purpose behind, you can do whatever you want to do. A good purpose, of course.
Mm-hmm.
What is your contribution for this world? It's not only working for yourself. It's how you can have a bigger purpose, because we need people in this world that we are living today, with all these issues that we are living today. All of us should have a bigger purpose beyond of our own interests. It's not egos. It's creating actions that can build a better world for everyone.
Is that a conversation you're having with your daughter? How do you
Yes.
think about purpose?
Yes,
and career?
with both, with my children. My Julieta is 18 and Pablo 16. And yes, it's a conversation that I always have with them. And I think it's my best legacy that I can leave. It doesn't matter what you want to do. It's how you can create to have a bigger purpose in your life.
Yeah. So I think what's interesting about the space that we're both working in is that it's a space where sometimes we expect more to happen than actually happens, or where perhaps even we sometimes, as a sector, overpromise on the impact that we can deliver, and then possibly sometimes fall short of that. How do you manage that tension, and how do you navigate perhaps also like this impatience, right? We see what is possible, but change doesn't always happen as quickly as it could.
Wow. Yes. Yes, and even more at this time that we are living, they not want to see quick results. And when you are trying to change lives, to change conditions in the life of too many people, so you working with gender lens, we don't want to see any discrimination for women at this time. But for me, is if you have a good project, a good idea, and you need to have this long-term vision. And if you have good metrics, so how you want to achieve these ideas? Because sometimes we have good ideas, but not how I will execute these ideas and how I will measure these ideas. So it is difficult to understand that it takes time, but once you have the good metrics and the good design of the project, I'm sure that you will achieve these goals as well. So for me, it's not starting a project by a project. Sometimes and something I have a good conversation is not having a portfolio of 500 projects. Maybe you can have only 5, even less, but at least having a good project in which you can change life of someone. So it doesn't matter in the numbers. It's how deep do you want to go to create this change? Yes, I think it's the way that I see, and I compensate that and I'm taking time. So in this world of impact investing, the manage is not the exits, the financial returns. It is the change that you want to create and how you are committed with this change. So yes, and I'm sure that we are having some changes, good changes. We need more. And it's because we are working together with these networks, even to extracting these changes in the world.
Yeah. When you, let's say when you retire and eventually look back on your career, what is it that you would want your work to stand for? What do you hope to see?
I want to see more people committed with the causes that we're working with. I think that we need more people working in this sector, and the awareness that we should increase. So sometimes when people see the work that we're doing, it's not, yes, they're working on impact in a beautiful world, everything is beautiful, no, and you're working with foundations. So it is not something beautiful, it's something that you should be part of it. So I would love to be more people committed with the cause that we're working with. So gender lens is not, wow, are you working on gender still? Yes. So it's not. No, something that you are looking with different lens is having this lens as part of every project that you are working with. So this is how you can bring the gender lens as a cross-cutting issue, working with climate, with education. So I want to see more people committed with the issues that we're working with. I want to see more governments working with us. Sometimes there is not enough connection with the work, with what we are promoting from the private sector, with the government, with the work that the governments are doing. So how we can create better connections, how we can see more blended finance, how we can, creating these financial instruments and bringing different actors to extract the work that we are doing. So I would love to see it, not even when I retire. I hope
Sooner,
of course.
If somebody is listening to this podcast and they want to leave a conventional career path to dedicate themselves to work with impact, what would you say to them?
Go ahead. If you want to do, I think that we have too many challenges in this world, and we need good people with this commitment and with this dream. So I'm so happy that more people come to us and work with us. So happy to support these dreams with these people. So yes, I'm so happy, but understanding that it's not just the beautiful world. Because you're working with foundations, you're working with for women, you should have a beautiful life. No, it demands time. So it's a beautiful world, of course, but it's not just, you left your lawyer career because you don't want to work more. No, I think I'm working even more right now because you cannot leave the causes. No, I want to close here and I will come back tomorrow. If you have a project you have to work with, you should be committed with that. So it's understanding that this social or impact world also needs time and professionals.
That's hard work.
Yes, it is indeed.
Thank you so much, Carolina. This was amazing. Thank you for everything you have shared.
No, thank you, Jessica. It has been a pleasure. A lot of questions that you asked that helped me to reflect and thank you. It has been a pleasure to be here with you, with a woman that I really admire your work, the way that you are leading this network in the world. I think it's something amazing. So thank you for the invitation. And it's always grateful to have the inspiration of people like you.
Thank you. And I look forward to signing our renewed partnership agreement tomorrow.
I know.
So also an invitation to our listeners, check out the work that Latimpacto is doing, the partnership with 2X Global. And where can people best follow your work, Carolina?
I think on LinkedIn, I am open to share with people. So LinkedIn, I think, is the best way that I can connect with. Fantastic. And through 2X as well, because I think we are so connected with 2X and how we can also bring in the best from the work that you are doing worldwide to Latin America.
Amazing. Thanks so much.
No, it has been a pleasure. Thank you, Jessica.